Welcome back everyone, this is MandoAllDay, back with another video, and in this video, I'll be doing an overview of Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze, which I thought it was from the video game of the Arkham City, but apparently, it's actually not, just as Victor Freeze. As always, I'll be talking about the figure itself in terms of articulation, sculpture, and paint, and if it's worth your purchase or not. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. So, let's take a look at the box. This side. The back, which I really like the art. The other side, top, and bottom. Alright, now let's take a look at the figure outside the box. As always, we do come with a card. This is the front of the card looks like. The back of the card. It does come with a cool gun, so really cool detail on it. I very like the tip of it. Kind of has it look like it's actually ice, but obviously it's not. But I like the detail and the sculpture of it. I like how there's some pointy parts to it, which is really cool. And of course, the gun itself, which I like. It's very detailed. The color is basically silver. Nice shiny silver to it. Again, very sculptured. Very good sculpture on this gun, of Mr. Freeze's gun, which I like. And I'm glad they actually put attention to detail, because a big thing with Mr. Freeze is going to be his gun. And so having it here, this detail, actually, you can really tell that McFarlane did a really good job with it, but also took some time in making sure that the gun itself was sculpted very well. So I like the gun. And of course, a regular stand. So let's take a look at Mr. Freeze, which, like I said, I thought this whole time was a Mr. Freeze from the Arkham City wave, but it's actually not. So in terms of the head sculpture, the cool thing is you can actually take this off. Mine just came off just like so. So if you don't want to have that helmet on there, you can have it just like that by itself. So the head articulation, left and right, it's good. Up, down, good. Articulation is good. And the head sculpture looks really good, man. Obviously, he's bald, so there's not much detail on his head, of course. But you got the goggles, which look really good, especially the red. Look really nice. You got a little bit of sculpture design here on the side of the goggles. You got the ears. And, of course, the big thing is going to be that face. And to me, I think the face sculpture looks really good, especially the mouth and the nose. It's very subtle, but it looks really good. You can see the detail here on the cheekbones, his chin, obviously the lips, the nose, and of course that grin on him. Unfortunately, mine came with a little bit of damage, unfortunately. Not damage, but paint on there. A little bit of black paint, but it is what it is, though. And I do like the paint. I like that paint of Mr. Freeze's skin, which is, in this case, kind of like a light blue with like light green mixed together type of thing, if that makes any sense. And I like the lips are painted a little differently, which very subtle, but it looks very good though. So overall though, I gotta say the head sculpture looks good, articulation is good, paint's good. I dig it. And of course you can replace it with this, or you can have it kind of like looking to your side and just put it on like so. So that's really cool. I like that little detail. Thanks, McFarlane. So let's take a look at the arm articulation. The shoulders do articulate. It just, mine is a little stiff, but they do articulate. Biceps articulate, just mine is very stiff. Elbows, good. Wrist, good. Torso, good. So in terms of the articulation in the upper body, it's good. But man, just look at this sculpture design on this. Where do I start? Well, for one, I don't even know where to start. So let's start from, I guess, from the centerpiece, the chest. So the chest has that front plane on here. Very cool. I like the red on here, almost like the exhaust. Then you have here the piping on here for the coolants on here, which look really good. But what I like about it here is going to be that detail. The attention, all this detail. And I also like the color palette. Well, this is more like a cream color, and this is more like a light blue with a white color. Very subtle, but it looks good. You can see the color difference right there. But just the texture detail look really good. And then you got the shoulder piece on here. And then you have the other gauntlet on here. And of course the glove. The gauntlet does have that kind of creamy kind of look. Here on the wrist, it's painted white. And of course the shoulder piece is painted with that light blue, white color. But very detail on this. I really dig it. The one downside to it is going to be this color, the cream color. Which is very present on the legs. I won't say too much on the upper body, but that cream color, which I'll talk about in a bit. But man, this is a fantastic looking sculpture design on this Mr. Freeze. Then you got the centerpiece here on the torso. Then you got that black on here, and of course the black underneath. Very, very good, very clean looking in terms of the design on the arms, but the sculpture on here looks really, really cool, man. Then of course you got more on the back here on the canisters on here. You got more detail on here. You got more of the light blue, and of course that white on there, the cream color I'm gonna just call it. More detail, and of course the paint. I dig this figure. This figure looks really, really good, and this is the first DC Multiverse Mr. Freeze figure, which I'm really, really digging it, man. For the first Mr. Freeze figure, this looks amazing, man. This is top notch, man. So overall, what I think about the upper body, I think the upper body looks really, really good. Sculpture design looks really good. The paint job, the color palette between, like I said, the creamy color, and then you got that light blue with the white on there, and of course the centerpiece, and a little bit of subtle with the reds on there. I dig it, man. I really dig it. I think this looks fantastic in my opinion, and McFarlane did a really good job. Something that I noticed too right now is the gauntlets are different. So you got this kind of look right here, which is supposed to be like showing his gauges for canister, but on the other side, you got that. So cool little attention to detail. I like that. Let's take a look at the belt. The belt, very simple, clean, not much to it. You got a little sculpture design on there, and then you got that paint on there with the light blue and white, and of course you got that turquoise kind of color look on there too. Has a glossy paint on here in the center, so not much to it to the belt. Let's take a look at the leg articulation. It's good. Knees, good. Ankles, good. Toes, good. Unfortunately, the ankle came a little crooked, as you can see there. It's not too big of a deal, but it did came crooked, so it's kind of a bummer. But again, not a big of a deal for me. Now let's take a look at the leg detail. Very similar to the upper body. You got that cream color here, but it also has all this detail, which looks really, really cool. Then you got that black underneath here too. That kind of balances it out from the white creamy color with the black, which again looks really, really cool, man. I dig it, man. This is a really good looking figure, especially the legs. I say that because many times the McFarlane figures with the legs, they don't really have a lot of detail, and this one definitely has a lot of detail on it, which I appreciate. You got the knee pads on here, same kind of texture design that's on the knee pads, similar to the bicep, and of course right here, and the other bicep right there. And the boots itself, very clean looking. There's a bit of a sculpture design right there, which again looks good, and of course the feet, sculpture design, which looks a lot going on, but it looks good nonetheless though, man. And it kind of fits the tone of it, the theme, I should say, that tone. Now, as I mentioned regarding the cream color here, you can really see it and also feel it on the lower legs. And what I mean by that is the cream color feels like cheap paint. And what I mean by that is, have you ever, you guys, like felt the paint on like an apartment where, how can I put it or say it? That, you know, that paint quality, the type of paint that certain apartments use to really repaint something, but they use really cheap paint that like literally costs like maybe 1 gallon of paint for like $1, where you can really feel that kind of stickiness on that paint. That's what it feels like on the legs here. When this cream color paint, it kind of has that feeling of paint where it's like very sticky, very cheap material. I'm not trying to say this is cheap paint. I'm not trying to imply that, but it has that feel to it. I'm hoping that makes sense, because I know it sounds weird saying it, but I'm hoping that makes sense. And that's what I felt right away. As soon as I got it out of the box, I felt the cream color has that kind of feel to it. It's like very cheap paint that some builders or apartment complexes use to kind of cost save, and it has that kind of feel to it. Again, only on the cream color. Everything else feels fine, but that cream color has that feeling to it. So overall though, I dig it, man. There you go. Fantastic looking Mr. Freeze figure, and I dig it. Now, I'm putting him on stand. Of course, the main question is this worth it? Should you go out and get this figure? Personally, for 20 bucks, I would say, heck yeah. This is, to me, a must-buy for 1, if you're a Batman fan, 2, if you're a Mr. Freeze fan, and 3, if you're just a great addition to the DC Multiverse, because it's a good-looking figure. A lot of detail, the paint, the color palette looks good, and when you set it next to other, like Arkham City, which I'll show in a bit, Arkham City figures, it blends in with it. And like I said earlier, I thought this was a Arkham City figure. The whole time I thought it was a Mr. Freeze from the Arkham City, but apparently it's not. But I think with this sculpture design and paint, it can kind of blends in very well with the Arkham City. But nonetheless, so what would I recommend it? Would I recommend it or not? Honestly, this is easily a thumbs up for me. As I mentioned, articulation is good, sculpture is good, paint's good, the gun is good. I like the card, and also you can remove the helmet and you can actually articulate the head to make it look wherever you want it to look. I mean, you can't go wrong with it, man. Apart from the whole paint thing, but again, that's just something that I noticed. But to me, this figure itself for $20, I think it's a really good deal. And like I said, thumbs up for me. McFarlane did a really good job with this particular figure. I say that because McFarlane did another figure, did the platinum one. This is the chase one, the platinum one. So there's that. If you're asking, am I going to take it out of the box? No, unless I get another one. But, I'll just do a showcase right here. Both of them. But there you go. They're pretty much identical. The main difference, obviously, is going to be the paint. But if you were to ask me which one I prefer, this one, the common one, or the platinum, personally, I'm going to go for the common one. I'm not hating on it. I think this looks really, really good. The color palette looks good. I just like this one more because the blacks, not only do look good, but it makes everything else stand out. And I think here, you can see clearly here, some of the black parts that are here, they're painted white, and it kind of blends in all the colors, so it doesn't really, you can't distinct each color, if that makes any sense. But for this one, you can really see the definition of it. But also, I just like this color, because when I think of Mr. Freeze, I think of this kind of skin tone. This kind of skin tone, you can see it here in the comics, and also in the animated series, and of course the video game. So to me, if you were to ask me which one I prefer, like I said, I'm going to go for the common one, but that's just me. But again, I wanted to show you the platinum one, and from what I've read online, the platinum one's going to be available if you can find it with the McFarlane store, or if you go to an actual retail and hopefully you get lucky and you're able to find the platinum one. So hopefully I get another one, then I'll do an overview. If not, I'm going to keep it in the box. But I just wanted to show you the platinum one, and like I said, Mr. Freeze, thumbs up for me. Here we have Two-Face from the Dark Knight trilogy, and of course Mr. Freeze. As I mentioned in the video, you can actually put this with the Arkham City, and you could make it seem like it's a regular Two-Face from the Arkham City, and it kind of goes with it, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I just wanted to show you these two side by side, how they look one another, and I think they both look good. And like I said, I think you could blend this in very well with the Arkham City figures wave. Here we have Solomon Grundy with Mr. Freeze, an Arkham City figure. This is the Build-A-Figure wave for Solomon Grundy, and of course Mr. Freeze, just standing side by side. You guys can see in terms of the height and a little bit of dimensions, but more importantly, how it blends in. And as I mentioned before, and I'll mention again, I think this Freeze, this whole time I thought it was Arkham City, but apparently it's not. So there you go, but I think it still blends in very well. Here we have Catwoman from the Arkham City, Solomon Grundy Build-A-Figure wave, and of course Mr. Freeze. Both look good, but man, Mr. Freeze looks really, really good, man. The more I look at Freeze, I'm like, damn, this is a really good looking sculpture on this figure, man. It looks really, really good. And of course, Catwoman looks amazing, man. McFarlane did a really good job with this Catwoman figure. But nonetheless, here we have both of them side by side. Here we have Joker from the Arkham City wave. I don't believe it's a Build-A-Figure. No, it's not. It's just a regular figure from Arkham City. I call it the dirty one. I don't even want to call it, but there you go. Just showing you how this Mr. Freeze looks standing next to Joker from the Arkham City video game wave. Here we have Killer Croc from the Arkham Asylum Mega Fig, and of course Mr. Freeze. Both look really good, man. This Killer Croc looks really, really good, man. Actually looks really good. The more I'm looking at it now, I'm like, damn, this is a good looking Mega Fig, man. And it's tall too. Damn, this is a really good looking figure. But nonetheless, so just showing you how they look side by side. Here we have Batman from the Arkham Knight, and of course Mr. Freeze, which I made a video not long ago of this Arkham Knight Batman figure, which unfortunately the leg is kind of messed up. You can see here on the joints, on the knees. I might report it to McFarlane, see if maybe they give me, I don't want to say refund, or maybe I don't know, maybe they can do something, but just wanted to show you how these two look standing next to each other. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree with this figure? To plan to purchase this figure? Leave it in the comment section below. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button to now support channel, but to keep up to date and watch videos like this. That includes an overview of Mr. Freeze, Victor Freeze, and on to the next one.